Peace to one and all. It's been a little while before I talk movies. The last video I had was flagged by YouTube. Warner Brothers flagged it and brought it down, blocked it worldwide. So that video I did with you guys recently, it got flagged. I only got a couple minutes before I go out the road. My health is not 100%, and I know that. So even though I've declared by the Lord prophetically that I'm healed, I know I have to do certain things to maintain that healing and maintain that health. I've been really eating wrong, eating and drinking at the same time, guzzling down most of the food without drinking water and stuff. And God's been merciful to me, but I really have to keep my stuff in line. As you can see, there's my bed in the background there. I'm in this room. I got the time. I want to praise the Lord for my mom's health really improving. She still has a ways to go, but she's a lot better than she was before. Let's get into the word. Yo, I got to talk about the body. That's what love starts off this discussion. You can see the title is Love, State of Affairs, Aquaman, Snyder Cut, and me being censored, right? So I just want to talk about that real quick. This time, I'm not going to take very long, 10 minutes. You can leave your comments in the chat section, hails out, everything. Anything you want to talk about, we're going to get to it right now. John chapter 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shined in the darkness, and the darkness did not comprehend it. Okay, let's get to it right now. This sounds very theoretical, but it is absolutely real. I was talking with my mother about this a while ago, and I want to talk with you guys as well. So it starts off just like Genesis 1. In the beginning was the Word. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And God said, let there be light. When God said, when you say God said, that's the word right there. Okay. And the Word was with God. Well, obviously, because God said it. And the Word was God, because God is the Word. Okay. So that's what that means. Now, many different religions have different takes on that, what was just said, because the word spoken is not a person or anything. The word spoken is what it is. But God spoke and it was done. So when we say God is the Word, it's really straightforward. I mean, it's just what he said. Whatever God says is his word. That's basically it. All right, let's keep it going. Then it goes on to say, all things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. Obviously, if you speak, something is created, right? This is common sense. In him was life. Yes, when God speaks, you get life. So that's basically it. And now this is what's really real about it. Right now, as we're speaking, I'm alive. You're alive. You're conscious. The things that exist around you exist. And if you go and read Genesis, the world came into the form and void of the world, and things that came upon the earth world happened because God spoke. That's life that comes forth. So the actual life, your life, my life, the life of everything, or the existence of anything that's happening right now, the fact that they're existing right now is because literally God is flowing through them. God is life. Jesus said, I am the resurrection and the life. He wasn't playing when he said it. It's literal. Like Jesus is holding us up all, as we speak. God saves, or Jesus just means God saves. God saves is holding us as we speak. He's saving us. He's keeping us. He's sustaining us. Okay, so that's basically what this is. It's not no rocket science, but yet at the same time, it is one of the most wondrous things, because on the template of life, being alive is consciousness. And you and I are conscious, and we are able to now perceive things in the atmosphere and choose and think and reason and all those kinds of stuff, because we have life, the fabric on which we exist. And how we know it's God that provides that is because we have no control over how long we live. We don't know when we will die. And most people, everybody, I don't know nobody in this world who does not desire to live. In fact, even the most suicidal person will tell you they don't really want to die, but they're so depressed they don't see a reason to live. So it's not that they don't want to live. It's that they want to escape their situation. Most of the time, people who want to commit suicide, they just want to be out of that situation. This is why it's not that they don't want to live. Most suicidal people, it's not that they don't want to live. It's that they want to end whatever the situation is and they see it as ending their lives as a way of escaping it. If you really listen to a suicidal person, that's what they're basically saying. Or even a discouraged person. They just want to end the situation they're in because it's just too painful for them. So basically, as I'm speaking right now, and your very existence is pretty much a testament to the fact that God is flowing through you, keeping you alive. Now, what's the difference between being filled with God or you know, giving yourself over to God and God? God's in everything, right? So what do they mean by, you know, having, say, for instance, they say the Holy Spirit fills you, or God fills you, or God is inside your mind? What does that really mean? It means your mind has now opened up to what God is doing, and you're now receiving and acknowledging, and also giving thanks and praise to God for what he's doing, and allowing God now to truly be in your consciousness and allow to be part of the decision-making process you have. In fact, to completely take over the decision-making process you have. You're still going to be able to choose if you want to stay with him or not, or do things his way or not. And the thing about God that a lot of people don't understand is God doesn't want you to stop making choices because you choose him. No, you get to choose all the trees of the garden. You still have you must be able to choose. He doesn't want you to stop making choices. It's just that he wants to have it where he's guiding you towards a point, and you can do it different various ways, but you're still going to head towards this point because that's the best point for you. So, you know, man, just talking about, you know, when I started talking about God, man, it makes me so happy to talk and share this on social media with all you people out there right now. It's just really an awesome thing to put this through the airwaves. And I know this goes all over the place, so I'm really happy about it. So I asked the Lord today to let me, because I was grateful when I woke up and I was awake, you know, because I was just talking with a friend of mine yesterday who's a dentist. And he was saying, you know, we always assume that we wake up the next day, or we always assume we'll be alive for the next moment or the next second. That's not guaranteed. And therefore, we should be grateful on every breath. We take it for granted that, you know, things are going to be as they are second to second, moment to moment. And that's not guaranteed at all. And, you know, I just like to talk about these things to you guys because I know it's entertainment. I know you guys want to come and get entertainment on the channel. You know, the channel's all about the DCEU, Aquaman. Yes, I call myself Christ I Am, so I will talk about God. But I just love to talk about these things. Again, you can leave your comments in the chat section because I think these things are meaningful to talk about. And if I'm going to be on the airways, I got to talk about this. So anyways, let me go on. So you can match up John 1 with Genesis chapter 1, step by step, moment by moment, because if you look at it, all things were made by him. So in the beginning, the same was the beginning with God, which is the Word. The Word is not a person per se. They call him, they personify it, but it's just basically what God spoke. Okay. And then all things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. Okay. Obviously. Okay. When God spoke, let there be light. Okay. I think that's the first thing God said, right? He said, let there be light. That was the first thing he said right here. And God said, let there be light. And there was light, right? So check out what John chapter 1 has to say about that. It's really cool. So in him was life, and life was the light of men. So when God said, and that's why I said Moses is a prophet. Moses is prophesying about Jesus actually coming. You know, a lot of people think that Jesus is the first spirit of God, that he was the first spirit to come out of God. That's not true. In the creation sense, Jesus was never created. God is not created. You can't be God and created. God is not created. Okay. Jesus, the man, was created, and that's the first fruit, and that's the firstborn of God, and that's the first spirit they're talking about. Jesus was created when he became a man. That's when God put on flesh. That's how we put it. And that's what, like I try to explain to a lot of people, that is what that Shekinah glory that came down in the tabernacle represents. All right. So if you understand the Jewish teachings, and the Jews know this, all right, this is where that's why people could worship Jesus. If you go and read the scriptures, people bow down and worship Jesus. Jesus is the transcendence of, as they say, the Father in the flesh. Now, like I said before, the Father is not limited to no flesh. Okay, so that's the difference, and that's why the Jews understand it better. That's why, you know, people don't call Jesus God, especially when he was on earth, because he was the Son of God. Because God is not limited; he's omnipresent. He's not limited to any form. Okay, but understand, God in the flesh made it possible for us as humans to best understand God by God being personified as a human being. He became a human, so we could see how God is and how God is treated as a human. Now, there's a number of different things here going on, so I want people to understand, because it's not this is not theoretical. That's what I keep on trying to explain to people. Maybe it's carrying across like a theoretical thing. You know, people like to say, oh, this is a word study. This is not a word study. This is real. I'm talking to you guys. This is reality. Okay, and that's the difference. I'm not talking to you guys like some academic or some guy talking theory. This is not theory for me. This is very real stuff. Okay, so let me see if I can explain this to you guys. But it's maybe coming across as academic, which is terrible. But literally right now, Jesus, the God saves, you know, the Messiah, the Christ, the Savior, right? Literally, he's among us, but not in a... You ever sense the presence of somebody in a room, you were sleeping or whatever, and somebody came in the room and you knew they were there? Okay, that's how Jesus is. You can sense Jesus' presence, but you can't really see him with your naked eyes. If he wants to make himself available, we call it the angel of his presence, where he can adopt a form and you can see him as a form, as a person talking to you, but he's by the Spirit, as they say, the presence of God. It's different. That's why Peter and John and Paul and Barnabas and Ananias and Philip, all of these people, they saw God in a form, but knew that it was by the Spirit. That's why they say, no man by the flesh anymore. Okay, these are spiritual things. Okay, if you know, this is spiritual things I'm talking to you now. It's not okay. That, I don't know if this is making any sense to anybody, but hopefully in time it will make sense to you when these things start to happen to you, because they will happen to you. And they've happened to different people in different religious brackets. You got Islamic people seeing angels and stuff, and they tell them about, you know, the truth and about, you know, Christ and all of that, and to read certain things in the Quran and see. And sometimes they're meditating on certain things. You know, when you have a dream and a dream feels so real that you wonder if it was real or not. When you start to have visions, right? The visions come, sometimes they come very vaguely. They just boom, you get a vision, it's gone. Or you get a dream and it's gone. And then the thing comes to pass, and then you say, okay, I remember that dream, right? Now, what happens when it starts? You know it's real now. You know this is a real thing happening in front of your face, and supernatural, and now you have to deal with it. So what I'm trying to say is that that the attributes and the virtues of love, joy, peace, and all this stuff, there's more to see of that. There's more to understand of that. Okay. And so that's what I'm trying to say. Like right now, okay, like right now, I'm not alone in this room. You know what I'm saying? I'm not alone in this room. As much as it looks like I'm alone in this room, if you look at if you're going by your eyes and what your eyes are seeing, it looks as if I'm alone in this room, but I'm not. Okay. Okay. Here's an easy analogy. In the next room is the bathroom. Somebody's in the next room. You guys might not know that, but I know that because I heard the toilet flush. So someone was in the next room. So there was somebody really near to me. Okay. So I wasn't alone. I'm not alone in this house, but just because you can't see them in the next room doesn't mean that they're not there. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of times we go by what we see, or five senses, what we see, hear, smell, taste, touch. We go by that as if it's reality, and science goes with that, and so on, right? But there are things which you may not be able to perceive with those senses, and yet by your mind, you know there's a presence there. Take, for instance, If you are in a if you're near to a power line, for example, right, an electric power line, you know there's an electric power line there, and you know if there's a TV playing in the next room because it gives off a certain electromagnetic field. You can feel it. Well, it's the same way with God. Well, it's not the same way with God, but you know what I mean. It's the same way with God. His presence is there all around you, and once you become aware of his presence, that he's present everywhere you go, now it changes the way how you think about things. You see, and now your perception is you're never alone anywhere you go. And then when you start to see his angels of his presence, whether they're human beings like yourself or whether they are supernatural beings, which you either perceive or there's a supernatural intervention where you're pushed maybe from an oncoming car, or you get this foresight that something's about to happen because God reveals it to you, and then when it happens you're prepared for it or whatever. The angel of his presence, as we call it, whenever that happens and those supernatural things start to happen, like you pray for something and it happens, like this is the 4th day of sunshine we've had. Today is what, Wednesday? I think it is. This is the 4th day of sunshine. We prayed for that. Now the weatherman has said and predicted that there would be sunshine. Okay. But even before the weatherman started predicting, people were praying for the rains to halt, and then the rains have halt. And now we have sunshine. Now think about what I'm saying. Okay. People prayed for that. Now you could say, oh, well, man, but the weather patterns, man, you look at the weather patterns and blah. No, before the weather patterns had changed, people were praying. So that's not something just straight off the bat. You have to take note of these things. And so, like I was saying, to some folk, this stuff is not, you know, when you see those little things, you keep a register of it. You keep a note of it in the back of your mind. You know, a lot of things have happened to me, and I've seen that presence, that like people talk about that power, that intervention. I've seen it. And when you start to reflect back on your life, you begin to realize how many times this intervention has happened to get you to have a mental register, but you forgot about it and you return to the way of life that you usually did. And I'm just saying to you guys, you know, I don't care who's watching my video right now, but I'm saying to you guys that that is very important for people. And a lot of people are very dismissive of it. A lot of people don't want to talk about it. You know, a lot of people are dismissive of God. They have a certain cap and then they cut off and they're like, I don't want to hear no more about God. Right. And you got to understand, folks, he's there, whether you want to hear him or not. He's there. He's real, you know. And again, I may look crazy, but if you watch me through a different lens and through a different focal point, now it starts to make sense. It's not me tricking myself into believing that. I know that for a fact. I know there's a separate presence to myself. It might be running through me, but there's a separate presence around, and I'm very, very aware of it at times, and other times I forget about it. Like I'm not, you know, and I just, all I remind myself is, as close as this fan is to me, as close as I'm leaning on this bed, there's something sustaining me the same way inside of my body. And all of these things that their integrity, their structural integrity is being maintained by something. And I always put it back to energy. This is the easiest way to understand. It's because of energy that the integral structure of the fan and all of these things is here. And then when I think beyond energy to the invisible thing that actually holds this energy in place, gives it the character and attitude and everything, and I start to think about God and how God fits in between everything. He's holding everything together, and instantaneously, he's everywhere instantaneously. It makes sense. And from there, it's easy to understand that he's interfacing with my mind right now, interfacing with my thoughts, with these thoughts circulating all around and so on, you know. And the God I'm talking about, John 1 explains it all, you know what I mean? So anyway, it's very real to me. And it makes perfect sense that somebody who doesn't even know me can address me. It makes sense because he's connected to everything. So he can pull who he wants to pull from wherever he wants to pull, who is willing to let him pull them or not, and influence whoever he wants to influence. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't have to be even a human. It could be an animal. It could be a plant. It could be the structural integrity of a building. He can just pull from anywhere, you know, because everything is his. You know what I mean? He's everywhere. You know, people talk about like the devil's everywhere. Look at that. Look at the demon-like face in that guy. Well, guess what? God's everywhere, more than the devil is. You know what I'm saying? And which one you want to look for, the devil or God? I always ask people, because guess what? The God's keeping the devil alive too. Y'all forget that. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, man. So besides that, we were talking about light shining in darkness, which is what God said, let there be light. That was the first words he said. And then he goes on, John goes on to say, the true light, which lights every man that comes into the world, is, of course, the Word. And he was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. It's really funny. He came into his own, and his own received him not. He's talking about the Jewish people. But as many as received him, here, check this out. Check this out. And this matches up with John 3:16 if you think about it. As many as received him, to them he gave power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name, which were born not of blood, nor the will of the flesh, nor the will of man, but of God. Now, when we talk about children and by adoption, I think a lot of people don't get it. We are adopted, but through belief. It's the simplest thing in the world. Just believe that Jesus is the Son of God and that he sacrificed himself for us. And that's all you got to do to get the power of God. It's one of the simplest things in the world, but it's really complicated, because let me tell you why it's complicated. We are wired to believe we have to work for something, not believe something and then receive it into our lives. We feel we have to work for something. And the other thing is, belief can become very interesting and difficult in a sea of doubt. In the sea of doubt. The height of narcissism is today. People are doubtful about everything their governments do. They're wary of everything. People are very narcissistic. They think the most negative thing about situations. And so to have pure belief in the midst of that and not to doubt at all and have full confidence in God is a really tough thing, especially when the news that you get on major media is negative. It's always, depressing. When people have a lot of negative things to say about one another, when people are not encouraging but trying to up themselves and beef up themselves in this world, and they think that's the way to go. It's very hard to be a believer in the midst of a doubtful, narcissistic world, a world filled with selfishness and greed and lust and hatred. It could be very difficult. And even in the body, where we have different people in different parts of the body, we find that a lot of people are struggling to believe. In fact, I remember not too long ago when people were saying belief is not enough. Devils believe, and you have to have effort and put in. And there's no such thing as that. When I think about it, it's about straight up believing. That's it. If you believe somebody and you trust them, then you'll do what they say. It's as simple as that. It starts off with belief. You don't believe them, you ain't gonna do what they say. Right? It's just what it is, right? If you doubt somebody and you doubt what they are about, even though they may be producing results, you're not going to do what they say. You're going to choose to do something else. And so it comes down to belief. And belief is shown by your works. It's shown by your works, but it's not separate from your works. You see what I'm saying? You're going to show that you believe by taking action, right? And trusting. So it comes down to that. So that's what happened with Jesus. And that's what's happening with Jesus. And that's what's happening all now. We are still building our faith in him. Because if we have faith in him, he will be to us as he sees us. Very real. I just don't think we always think he's real. I know there are times when I think he's an idea. I think Jesus is an idea. I think some of you also believe the same thing. That's why you close your eyes to pray instead of just looking into the thin air and realizing you're talking to somebody. You know what I mean? I get it. Honestly, I understand. You trying to focus in and dial in when you should be dialing in all the time. Get what I'm saying? If you trust somebody, you're going to dial into them nonstop. You're just going to do what they say. If you trust them, if you believe them, you're going to do that. We don't believe like that. And a lot of us put limits on God. We ask God for something, then we double step on it and we doubt what we ask for. I know that because I personally do that. Okay. And we may talk with confidence at one moment, and then next minute we are like, man, I wonder. Once you start with I wonder, you're doubting. You're already giving in to doubt because you're like, I wonder, man, you know, I wonder if God will finish this off. I wonder, man, that's too far-fetched, man. I just asked a very far-fetched thing. Huh? What happens if it doesn't happen? You know, you just finished praying and then you questioning yourself. You know about that? You know what I'm talking about. And I'm just saying that shows us that we actually don't truly trust in God to deliver what he told us he would do. He said, if you ask anything in my name, I'll do it. That's what he said. That's a definitive statement. Do you believe that? Do you really? And that's the question. And so, you know, this statement here is big. It's huge. All these statements are huge. It says, but as many as receive him, them gave he power to become the sons of God. And this is, let me tell you how the sons of God thing. I'm going to give you a sort of mechanism so it'll make sense to you. All right. So, you know, people always say Jesus, you know, we became sons of God by adoption. What does that actually mean? It actually is this: because Jesus died on the cross, he was broken. And because his body was broken, just like when you break bread, like I said before, because his body was broken, stuff come out of him. And the stuff that came out of him was life, because he's a quickening spirit. And because of that, we were able to, anybody who believes that he was the Son of God, that he died for us, you know, that he showed us the way to the Father, that stuff comes out. And you receive that through what is called the presence of God, the Holy Ghost, or whatever you want to call it, right? Because they're different names. They're all through the Bible. There's a lot of different names for these things. But suffice it to say, when you receive the Spirit of God in you, or God resides in you, as Jesus said, I and my Father come and reside in you, then you become a son of God, because now you are born again. God is in you. And I'm talking about not in your presence or your body keeping you alive, but now in your mind. He's in your heart, as they say, in the center of who you are and how you function and your personality and all that stuff, right? So now it comes into, now you are cognizant that he's in you. And once he's in you like that, now you are known as a son of God. You're not just a son of man anymore. You're not just a living soul, but you yourself have attributes of God, like the quickening spirit that's inside of you. So that's why they say you have the keys to heaven now and earth. You have whoever sins you forgive on earth, they will be forgiven in heaven. And only a son of God can do that. No man can do that. Okay. If you ever study the Jewish tradition, you will know from the Jewish tradition, it's blasphemy to equal yourself to God, any man. But as a son of God, which is blasphemy again, if the Jewish people will say that's blasphemy, you cannot call yourself a son of God. But as a son of God, now everything that Jesus did, you too can do. And one of them is forgiveness of sins. Okay, so in the name of Jesus, in the authority and power of Jesus, you can now forgive sins as Jesus and God, or Jesus and his Father, can forgive sins. And so that's a huge thing, because we saw when Jesus forgave the sins of the man who couldn't walk, what happened to him? He picked up his stuff and walked, right? You know, Jesus resurrected the dead. He cast out demons. All of these things now you have the power to do. But do you use that power? Do you trust who is inside of you? He's inside of you, but do you trust him to do those things inside of you? See, there is some truth to saying, oh, I believe in what's inside of me. But if you have inside of you, you don't have the Father or the Son, then it don't matter what you believe. But if you have the Father and the Son, then you should believe in what is inside of you. And here's the thing. They take the kingdom of God is inside of you. And a lot of people take it as inside of me personally. Well, that's true. But he's also talking about inside of his body. When he says you, he's talking collectively. And that's much more powerful than just singly. Where he's inside of you, he's inside of you, his body, collectively. And when it says, do you know that your body is the temple of the Most High God? We can talk about it singly, which is individually, but more powerfully and more importantly, you collectively. That's all of you who call of God, who are sons of God, who we haven't yet seen what we have become because we're still becoming. But when we are becoming that, you will see the glory of God through that. And God will be giving glory. And that's us collectively as the body of Christ. And collectively, the body of Christ, still separated, is all over the place. But we're going to get it come together. We're going to have that Christmas that we're talking about. You know, that mass for Christ, the Savior, the amassing of the Savior's body. You know what I'm saying? It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. Okay? It's coming. But it hasn't as yet come. Let's put it that way. But it's coming together. So I'm saying all of this because I want you guys to be encouraged. You know, the first fruits was Jesus. The first apostle was Jesus. The prophet was Jesus. You know what I'm saying? And that's the head of our body here. He's the guy that started it all off. When he died, that's why we even commemorate communion. When he died, he started it off. He broke the bread. You know what I'm saying? You know what happens when Jesus breaks bread in the Bible? You ever checked it out? Anytime he breaks bread, what happens to the bread? It multiplies. That's right. It multiplied. Go check it out. Anytime Jesus broke bread in the Bible, it multiplied. Anytime Jesus poured out wine, what happened to it? It multiplied. You ever check that out? In the wedding, he started pouring wine from one place and he just kept on pouring it, right? When he broke bread, it just kept on breaking, right? And he fed like 4,000 people, 5,000 people, 7,000 people, right? You got to understand what was going on there. That breaking of the bread, that's a multiplication effect. So when you guys break bread together, the only thing that will come of that is the body will increase where you are. Your localized body will increase. The more you do things together as a group, the more you work together in love. Because that's what Jesus said. You only know as my disciples if you work together in love. The more you do things together in love is the more you will be multiplied. What did Jesus say to Adam and Eve? Be fruitful and multiply. Multiplication isn't for you. It's for the body. It's for the word of God. It's for the gospel. It's bigger than you and me. When God blesses me, it's to be multiplied and spread out to as many people as possible, which is why I'm even doing this stream right now. It's a multiplication effect. You know what I'm saying? And you got to understand, man, you know, God don't bless us for ourselves. He never does that. He blesses us so it could go beyond ourselves. There's something bigger than us. And if you think about it, I'm just one little guy amongst many people, 7 billion people. And then let's not talk about the trillions and trillions of things that occupy this planet, which are alive, both in the depths of the sea to the heights of the sky, to the universe, the edges of the universe. So when you think about it like that, you understand I'm a part of something. And it's just a privilege to be a part of something. To be a part of God is a wonderful thing. And you just want to do your little piece to make sure that you can bring some love and peace to the place. Let's talk about the state of affairs in the United States of America. So there's this guy, these people who are sending out hate mail. They're sending out literally hate mail. They're sending out bombs in their mail. And we've been watching that in the news. It's just negative. It's very depressing. But here's the good news in the whole thing. The good news in the whole thing is now you guys can do something different. You can start sending love in your mail. Send love to your senators. Send love to your governors. Send love to the different people. Send support and love. Why don't you flip the script and send some love out there? You know, the world is a place where people highlight controversy. They highlight negative things. They will quicker highlight evil than they will highlight good. They'll tell you how many murders are out there, how many people did terrorist acts, how many people committed suicide, how many people, you know, are selfish and they're trying to hug the attention of the spotlight. But you know what? There's a lot of good things going on out here. And what we got to do is highlight the love, because guess what? Love is always going to be more powerful than hate. Love is always going to be greater. Love conquers all. So let's keep the love going, whether they want to put it on mass media or not. Let's get those lights, those beacons of lights out there shining. I'm so proud of my fellow countrymen who came to the rescue of all of these flood victims and started, you know, donating things. And the business community stepped up their game and started doing that. All I say to the business community of my country, if they ever watch this video, is I would tell you guys this. You guys are the gatekeepers of this country. You guys are the guys that actually hold up this country. So the tone you set as business people, and you have to be fearless now. The tone you set as business people, putting in that positive energy into this country, is going to is going to yield returns. And everybody who's in the business, I'm a person in the business community, okay? And everybody in the business community, you need to just keep pressing forward with positivity out there. That's what you have to do, and you got to be relentless about it, because it's a war. It's a war out here, and you have to make sure you keep a positive spin. You try to support positive people in communities, and do your positive advertising. You know, try and just keep it positive as much as possible, because what happens is the mass media, generally speaking, they highlight a lot of negative things for reasons unknown to me. You know, it's one thing to find the truth in a situation. It's another thing to be just straight up jacking negative, man. Everything's just so negative. You gotta keep it positive at times. You know, there's a program in the morning I love, which is called Morning Edition. And Morning Edition highlights a lot of the local things that happen in the country, and a lot of them are very positive things. But you know what? I know there's not a lot of people who watch Morning Edition. I know there's a lot more people who watch the evening news, right? And the evening news don't got a whole bunch of positive things, right? We all know that. They always with controversy or some kind of nonsense. And we don't need all of that in our heads all the time. Yes, it's cool to tell us so we can keep track of the truth, but it doesn't have to be the majority of your news. I mean, there's a lot of good things happening in the country. You know what I'm saying? And this is the kind of thing I can't take, the imbalance. And then people feeling depressed and stuff and start mouthing off that like sheeple because they're not really paying attention to all the good things happening. On my street right now, they're reconstructing a pavement, and they're doing guttering in there. That's a positive thing. You can never call that a negative thing. That's the stuff going on. Why don't people highlight that stuff? You know what I'm saying? You got to keep it positive, man. I look at what CPAP does in my country. Just another point, and I'm out of here. Okay, CPAP is an organization. They real tight. They really do a good job when it comes to landscaping. And unfortunately for them, they work on a clock. They should be really working on jobs, how many jobs you get, but they work on a clock. Okay, these people are so efficient at what they do that they get it done really fast. And sometimes they're just sitting down there chilling afterwards because they've finished everything that they had to do. And to me, they're an underused resource. And I think also that a lot of entrepreneurs could really come off of that and do some really remarkable work, not only in landscaping, but in other areas, because I just think that they are underutilized. I just think so. But my point being, they're very positive. And the people I meet from CPAP, they're not really negative people. And because they clean up the community, they have a really interesting sort of way of looking at life. You know what I mean? That some of them look at it as a job, but they come out early in the morning, man. Before the sun is up, they're out there and they're working. And I just love that. You know, every time I see them, they bring hope to me, even though I know they have their little tiffs and stuff that goes on in between them. I just think that they're doing something that's really awesome. When you clean up a country or clean up a nation, you see all the filth and stuff, and you transform that into something that looks beautiful. That is so mind-bogglingly, you know, awesome. Where you can take somebody's filth, clean out all their filth, clean out their pampers, clean out their diapers, clean out their dregs. It's almost like you forgive them, like you're washing somebody's feet in communion. You know what I mean? And you got the place looking so dope. You would not even think that it was a dump heap like that before. It's something that does to the mind state of a person, man, because it says you can come back from the worst possible situation. I think that those people are the most appropriate people to go back into the flood communities and just restore those places and make them look really good, along with the municipal corporations, which I don't know, man. The municipal corporations to me are more sloppy than the people who clean up the garbage and stuff. They more dirty looking and stuff than the CPAP people. If you look at CPAP people, they always look clean. They always look crisp. You know, they can go into a community and they be cleaning up sewage, but they come out of it looking clean and crisp. And I just love that. You know, you see the garbage trucks and the people, well, of late, especially the people coming through this area, they've been looking really clean and crisp, even though they're doing the cleaning up all this garbage and stuff. And I kind of like that. I appreciate that. Because what I think is those people who have to clean up mess, they see the worst of a country. And the cool thing about them is when they clean up the place, they make the country from the worst looking place you could ever look at to really squeaky clean, man. These people, Like it's like taking a bath. These guys just clean up the place and make it look good. I look at the people working in, you know, the big places like the malls and in the big business, that look squeaky clean all the time. And you just see how these people just really coolly clean up the place. I just love that. And there's something about it that really appeals to me. You know, it seems to me it's the most underappreciated job and the job that is paid the least, which is remarkable. Because I think it's the most important job in a country. How a country looks, you know, you know, that's very important. You know what I mean? And yet, for some reason, these are the people who are paid the least. It's kind of one of the funniest things in the world. When you think about it, if you don't have a clean place and it looks like a dump heap or it looks like a lab ass, this is the worst possible thing you could ever have. And flies all around. You know, the people, you know, this is a weird thing in the States. You know, people who clean up sewage and stuff, they're paid big money because people understand the place has to stay clean and sanitary. So they're usually the people who pay big money for that. Over in my country, they pay next to nothing for it. And I find it very ironic when I think about it. It's very ironic because these are the most important people. If you don't have them around, your place is going to be nasty. Okay, it's going to look terrible, you know, but it is what it is. All right, let me get to this. So state of affairs, I just went through that. We're gonna look at Aquaman and the Snyder Cut in the same breath. So yes, I did a video not too long ago. By the way, guys, you can leave your comments in the comment section. It's almost 3 o'clock. I gotta get out of here. Yeah. I don't know if you guys can hear me. Let me just make sure you guys can hear me here first. Okay, cool. You guys can hear me. Okay, so let me just get this wrapped up here. Right, so it's 2:38. I can actually go drink some water now. I ate and stuff. I can go and drink some water and get out of here. Oh, we got some viewers. Hey, that's cool, man. Hey, don't forget, you can leave your comments in the comment section. We're going to get to Aquaman and Snyder Cut now. I know you guys want to talk about Aquaman and Snyder Cut, so... So the last video I was talking about Aquaman, I'm breaking it down, showing you guys what good CG was, what bad CG was. You know, my little gripes with Aquaman. I understand why people don't have enthusiasm with Aquaman so much. And, you know, the stuff with the Snyder Cut, which I still want to see. I want to see the Snyder Cut bad. I hope they working on the Snyder. I don't know what Warner Brothers is doing with the Snyder Cut. I hope they work on it. And I hope, even if it's after Aquaman, they show the Snyder Cut, maybe somewhere in between Shazam, Aquaman. Whatever, but they should get that out on home release. They don't have to put it in the cinema. They may put it in select cinemas, but I just hope so. What's the latest news in the Snyder Cut? I don't know. I haven't really checked. I can always check. But I know you guys want to talk about that. But like I said before, Aquaman, for me, when I saw that roof stuff scene, that really got my blood pumping. And I'll tell you this, the CG has improved from the last Aquaman stuff I saw to now. And I love how Black Manta looks. Let me just say the things I like about Aquaman. So I love how Black Manta looks. I like how they featured him in that clip, that extended rooftop scene clip. I really love how that looked. It was dope, you know. Didn't see Volko. I didn't see Volko in the thing, but there's nothing new that they said about Aquaman. But and we don't really know what storyline they're going with for Aquaman. I don't know who's the person also storyboarding it. It's not Jay Oliver, that's for sure. But Aquaman, man, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a good. It's gonna be a good movie. I think it's gonna be a good movie. I'm gonna go see it. Hopefully day one. I'm gonna go see it the 21st of December. I'm liking what I'm seeing with Aquaman. Am I a big fan of the movie? No. Like I said before, some of the CG still needs work, but I think they're gonna work on it and we're gonna get everything. I think we're gonna get the full effects soon enough. I think the James Wan and Day and Light and Magic and stuff are still working out the details of the CG, and I'm beginning to realize that now. But I'm hoping they get it so that you can realize it's underwater, like how it was in Justice League. When I watched it, they looked like they were underwater. You know, the light was moving a certain way, so you got that wave-like pattern underwater. You know, I'll show you guys. I can't show you guys. Oh, you know what? I could show you guys. No, I can't really show you because there will be no animation. But Hold on a second. Hold on a second. No, don't see it really. Zack Snyder has these iconic ways of making these characters look so cool. So cool. Man, I can't wait. Aquaman. Man. Just how Zack Snyder does these things, man. I'm gonna show you guys some stuff on screen share so you can see what I'm talking about when it comes to Zack Snyder and how he does this stuff. So let me get to screen share here. Give me a second. All right, hold on a second. So look at that. See that Zack Snyder, man. Look at that. That's not clear enough though. See, he's underwater. Look how his hair is underwater. And the whole thing, the lighting and everything kind of waves. It's kind of wavy underwater. Zack Snyder, boy. Zack Snyder's so dope. See, it looks like he's underwater there. The bubbles and everything. See there, it looks like she's underwater as well. The bubbles and everything. Love that. Here he looked like he was underwater as well. So that's the kind of that kind of look that they need to have. You know what I'm saying? That underwater look. I'm gonna do a GIF and see if I get it. Look at this. See, that looks like he's underwater. God, I love that. Look how beautiful that looks. I don't know if you guys can see it. The lighting is actually waving in the water because you're in water. And it feels like he's in water. It feels like he's in depths of water too. So if James Wan can get that kind of sort of feel, you know, look at this. He looked like he's underwater again here. That looks like he's, oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. That looks like he's underwater, all the bubbles and everything. So can James Wan get that? He's got to get that. What he got to get? Oh, look at that. Look at that water's traveling behind there. Ooh, that's what I want, man. That's what I want. See, I don't feel that. I don't feel that with James Wan stuff. You know what I mean? I'm not feeling that. That's what you want to get that, though. You want to get that. Yeah. I feel it, man. So when I talk about that, when I talk about the CG and how it doesn't really look, it still looks CGI. That's what I'm talking about. See how the camera's waving there? Look at the camera wave there. That's how it'd be if you're underwater. See, things shake up a bit. You know, they shake up a bit like that. You know, the lightning moves when you're underwater, and that's the thing that they're not showing us. So anyway, yeah, the Snyder Cut, man. I'm very excited if they can. If Warner Brothers says the Snyder Cut is coming out tomorrow, I bet you, you know, and they say it comes out January something or something like that. Everybody, just out of excitement for the Snyder Cut, they're gonna watch Aquaman. They'll be like, you know, Snyder Cut is coming out. Warner Brothers says Snyder Cut's coming out. All the people who are like, man, I ain't watching nothing else for Warner Brothers. All of a sudden, they'll be like, well, you know what? I think I'm gonna watch Aquaman. I think I'll watch Aquaman. They're gonna watch Aquaman because they promised the Snyder Cut. Trust me, they're gonna do that. They're gonna take whatever Warner Brothers says, man. They'll be like, oh, okay, we'll see Aquaman then. Yeah, they'll be more enthusiastic and positive about it. As it is, I don't think people are really positive about Aquaman. Look at that lightning moving in the background. That's so cool. You saw that? That's because the window and the curtains are doing that. That's so cool with the lightning just moving in the background. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, they'll be much more positive about Aquaman if they could. If Snyder Cut comes out, because I noticed my boy Chris Wong. Right now, Chris Wong ain't focused on nothing else but the Snyder Cut. Chris Wong only doing videos on the Snyder. Chris Wong hasn't gotten over the fact that Justice League wasn't the Snyder Cut. You know, and a lot of people are like, man, we need to see that Snyder Cut. You know what I mean? And I can feel him on that. I can feel him on that. You know, you know, if a movie was going to be a certain way by the director and you guys just kind of changed it up, it would be like, nah, man, we need to see the Snyder Cut. And I feel they changed up some of James Wan's stuff too. I think James Wan was going to do something a little bit different. He did say it was going to be swashbuckling and adventure and like the Pirates of the Caribbean meets Indiana Jones, that kind of thing. So I expect that. We don't know what the story of Aquaman is, and I don't know the story either. And I'm looking forward to Aquaman nonetheless. I hope they polish up their CGI though. Their CGI is still not on point. So I hope they can get it better. You know, even my boy Tyron Magnus. I see you, Tyron. Tyron Magnus is like, man, that CGI ain't great, man. You can leave your comments in the comment section. I'm about to roll though. So if you guys gonna say something, say it now or forever hold your peace. So peoples, I gotta get out of here. It was nice talking to you guys. I gotta get out of here. Hope you guys have a great day, man. Yeah, so what happened with me and being censored? I don't know what it is with Warner Brothers, man. I started saying, of course, they probably wouldn't have liked my video anyway, but I started saying certain things and pointing out certain things, and they flagged me, man, like blocked my video. So there's nothing I can do. That's why I was trying to explain to Tommy Temper. I was trying to explain to him, man, look, they will flag me if I show those videos. And true to form, they flagged me. You know, you guys got to talk at least and comment and have some input, but at the end of the day, they flagged me, you know. All right, guys. So be aware of God's presence all times, man. Center yourself with him. You know, I went on the boxing channel and I said my piece as well. Hope you guys have a great day. I'm getting out of here right now. Peace to you guys. Gotta go work. Have a good one, man. Peace.